I was just an NPC in a dating simulation with 5 years left to live, and everyone online was betting I would cave for Ava one more time. Once I figured out the system's hidden punishment rules, I finally cut all ties with her in my heart. The system had a secret rule. If I exposed her as a player, the entire script would collapse, and I would inherit her real life. I had already lived through 7 cycles, trying every single time to save my girlfriend from an early grave. But I never succeeded, failing every time at the very last second. I was forced to watch her die over and over, witnessing her draw her final breath right in front of my eyes. Just as I was about to give up entirely, a comment suddenly flashed across my vision. It said, "Ava is a pro at farming these levels. The second she goes broke, she just picks up a mission to seduce James. Once the job is done, she fakes her death and bails." I stared at those words for several seconds, completely frozen. Ava had been treating me like a quest objective this whole time, farming my affection like it was some video game. I fought back the rising rage and kept reading. "He really is the most pathetic NPC ever," one viewer wrote. "He still has no idea what is going on. Ava is already planning a wedding with someone else in the real world while this guy is drowning in guilt, convinced he's the reason she died. But Ava finished the last run too quickly, so the system only gave her 10% of the payout," someone noted. "She will blow through that cash in no time. She will be back for a new mission soon, for sure." Suddenly, the world around me began to fade into gray, as if the universe had been muted. When I finally opened my eyes again, an 18-year-old Ava was standing there, looking down at me. "Hey, handsome," she said with a shy smile. "Can I get your iMessage?" I didn't say a word. Ava's ears turned bright red as she whispered again. "Could I get your number? I don't mean anything by it. I just really want to be friends." I stared at her in confusion until she shyly looked away. It hit me all at once. I was back. I had actually been reborn yet again. I was right back at the start, on the very day I first met Ava. Right then, translucent words began scrolling through the air as the comments started flooding in again. "Are you kidding me?" The same opening again, one comment read. "Doesn't this plot get old? Hey, James falls for it every single time. Who cares if it is outdated?" someone argued. "This is the 7th time she has used it, and it still works like a charm. Ugh, I'm literally sick of watching this. Can't Ava at least try a different strategy?" "You don't get it," another responded. "Ava is just here for the payout. Obviously, the faster she finishes the mission, the better." I stood there in a daze, my fists clenched tight. I couldn't stop staring at the words mission and strategy as they floated by. My mind was instantly pulled back through my past lives. This was my 7th time starting over. Every single time I returned, I carried the memories of my past lives and that one unfinished mission. My first love had died, saving my life. I believe I was being reborn so I could avoid that fatal moment and keep her from dying. I wanted to marry her and grow old together. Instead, every single life ended in absolute disaster. The first time, I was drowning, and she pushed me to shore only to be swept away by the current. The second time, she took a blade from me and bled out in my arms. The third time, we were trapped in a collapsed building, and she gave me the last of our food and water, dying of dehydration before I woke up. The fourth, fifth, and sixth times were all different accidents, but they were all just as tragic. I felt so powerless and broken. I cursed fate for being so cruel, constantly using death to rip us away from each other. But now, these comments scrolling through the air were revealing a bone-chilling truth. The love I thought was eternal and unbreakable, and every life or death moment I shared with Ava, was nothing more than a series of steps in a dating sim. Ava was the player following a script, and I was just the NPC she used to farm points. It was so absurd that I couldn't even wrap my head around it. I had loved Ava through 7 different lives. She had sacrificed herself for me every time, seemingly loving me more than her own life. That kind of love was supposed to be transcendent. How could someone like that just be playing a game? I closed my eyes, trying to block out the ridiculous text, but it was no use. The comments were scrolling faster than ever. "Hey, why isn't James saying anything?" one asked. "Ava is starting to look worried." Looks like she might need to update her strategy. Even a slow NPC like James can have a little glitch every now and then. Any guesses on how Ava handles James's silence? Someone joked. Do we even have to guess? She's obviously about to pull the poor me routine. I bet she says something like, I'm so sorry. I don't usually do this. This is the first time I have ever been brave enough to ask a guy for his number. The screen filled with rows of LOL and haha. A moment later, a new thread started. Everyone knows James wasn't even her first choice, one person wrote. She was originally aiming for a different NPC. That other guy was way too smart, though. He was impossible to trick. But then she found James, the world's most gullible NPC, and decided to just farm him over and over. She is basically treating him like a repeatable boss fight. Someone joked. Wait, 7 times. This was the 7th time. A cold sweat broke out across my back as the seeds of doubt finally began to take root. How could these strangers possibly know every single detail of our history? James, Ava said softly, her eyes welling up with tears as she watched me. She took a hesitant step forward, reaching out to grab my sleeve, but I kept my face like stone and pushed her hand away. Look, I don't know you, I said coldly. Please stay away from me. Ava froze, a look of hurt crossing her face as she spoke in a trembling, wounded voice. I'm so sorry. You must have the wrong idea about me, she stammered. I'm not that kind of girl. I just wanted to be friends. I've always been so shy, and I've never actually approached a guy before. You're just the first person who ever made me feel this way. This was the first time I ever found the courage to ask someone for their number. If I bothered you, I'm truly sorry. She turned to walk away, looking like her heart had been shattered. After a few steps, she glanced back over her shoulder, a single tear glistening in the streetlights. Honestly, it was hard not to feel bad for her looking like that. In our first life together, I had been instantly captivated by her. Every time we looked at each other after that, my heart would race uncontrollably. But looking at her now, that old spark was completely gone. She was just playing a part, exactly like the comments predicted. Every single word out of her mouth matched the script they had described. Those viewers didn't just know our past. They knew exactly what she was going to do before she even did it. I couldn't deny the truth anymore. Everything they said was true. When I got back to my dorm, I collapsed onto my bed, exhausted. I started replaying every single first meeting I had ever had with Ava. The memories flashed through my mind like a movie on fast forward. I watched them over and over until I finally realized that our entire history had been meticulously scripted from the very beginning. Meeting, confessing, the first kiss, the proposal, and finally the accident. Those were the 5 milestones of our relationship. I had repeated that exact same cycle with her 6 times already. The same lines, the same surprises. The only thing that changed was the timing. Our first life together lasted 3 years, but by the last one, we were hitting those milestones within 6 months. For a second, I realized our relationship felt like a video game. Ava was the player, and I was just the character. She was speedrunning through the same old story. Back then, I just thought we had incredible chemistry. I told myself that because our souls were so intertwined, we were just finding our way back to each other faster every time. I didn't care that every rebirth was draining my life force. I didn't care that our time together was getting shorter. I was willing to sacrifice everything if it meant she might finally live. Then came a 6th time. Ava died for me again, and that was when the screen filled with comments. The veil was finally ripped away, and I saw the ugly truth for what it was. The pain in my chest was hollow and agonizing, making it hard to breathe. I started laughing like a madman, a cold, harsh sound that grated even on my own ears. My throat burned, and I felt like I was going to be sick, but I couldn't stop. Suddenly, the comments appeared in front of my eyes again. Wait, what's happening? Why is James laughing like a psycho? This isn't in the script. Isn't James supposed to be the ultimate simp? There's no way he would ever turn Ava down. According to the game's rules, James was designed to be a pushover from the start. A player's first run in a parallel world usually doesn't affect the NPC's core programming. Ava is stone cold, one viewer wrote. Starting from a second run, Every reward she gets is actually paid for with James's own luck and life force. That is why his health is failing. He was supposed to be a genius at an Ivy League school, but she drained him so much he ended up at a community college. His family life is a mess, and he has literally lost 30 years of his life. I bet Ava is absolutely throwing a tantrum right now. Could you imagine his face if James could see how pissed off she is? After reading that, my vision blurred, and suddenly a window opened up showing Ava. She was sitting in a luxurious, empty room, talking to thin air. "Ugh, gross," she sneered. "Does he really think I don't see him for what he is? Just some pathetic loser who acts like he's never seen a girl before. One look from me, and he's crawling at my feet. Now he wants to play hard to get? Who does he think he is? If it wasn't for the quest, I wouldn't even waste a second looking at him. I better get triple the payout for this run. I know the rewards come out of his life force, obviously, and I know it's killing him. But there are millions of trash NPCs like him. Who cares if one dies? He should be honored that I am even using him for my mission." A violent shiver ran through me, and I bolted upright in bed, my whole body shaking. That was it. That was the real Ava. Every sweet word and every gentle touch had been a lie, a carefully manufactured performance. She was cruel, manipulative, and utterly rotten to the core. She just kept on insulting me, and as I listened to her venomous words, my heart felt like it was sinking into a bottomless pit. Suddenly, her face twisted in confusion. "System, what is happening? Why did James's affection score just drop by 10 points?" As soon as the words left her mouth, the vision vanished, replaced by a massive wave of new comments. "Holy hell, what just happened? I thought James's score was already at 60? How does it just drop 10 points in a second?" Ava was so sure of herself this time, too. Before the run started, she set the time limit to just 1 month. The developers told her she was being cocky, but she just laughed and said James was such a brainless loser she could finish the quest in a week. She said a month was being generous. And look at her now. She lost 10 points on the first day. She deserves it, honestly. But wait, didn't the rules just change? If a player fails a mission now, they have to swap lives with the NPC. The player gets trapped as an NPC, and the NPC gets to go to the real world. They get to keep all the player's real-world assets, too. A total life swap. Now, this is getting good. Ava has been using her rewards to buy mansions, sports cars, and designer clothes, while James is just a broke college kid. I would pay to see Ava try to survive the miserable, penniless life she created for him if they actually swap. Most people ignored those comments as they scrolled by, but I couldn't stop thinking about them. Life swap. I kept repeating those words in my head as my mind began to race. I had never been happy in this world. My mother was the other woman, and I was dumped at my grandparents' place in some rural town the second I was born. I was the family's dirty little secret. It didn't matter how hard I worked or how high my grades were. I could never compete with my legitimate brother. He just had to call once in a while or visit for 10 minutes to be the golden child. For 18 years, I lived like I was walking on eggshells just trying to survive. Then I met Ava. She seemed to understand me perfectly. I thought she was my soulmate, the only person who could heal the scars I carried my whole life. I honestly believed she was my savior. But reality had just slapped me across the face and shattered my world. The comments were right. Ava was a heartless manipulator who treated me like a stray dog. Why should I ever feel sorry for her again? Her fake smiles and stage affection weren't worth a damn thing. Mansions, fast cars, and absolute freedom were things I'd never even dared to dream of. Yet now they were right in front of me. All I had to do was survive 1 month and let a cruel woman pay the price for her actions. It was the best deal I had ever been offered. Suddenly, those floating comments didn't feel like a burden anymore. They felt like a gift from God. Over the next few days, Ava kept popping up everywhere I went, but I stayed cold. No matter how much she tried to flirt or manipulate me, I shut her down with a polite but firm wall of ice. My lack of interest and her falling score were clearly driving her insane. I kept seeing windows into her private life through the comments. She looked completely stressed out as she yelled at the air. "System, explain this right now." His programming is supposed to be fixed. Why is he being so difficult this time? Is the game glitching? Even the system sounded confused as it replied that everything seemed normal according to the data. Maybe you aren't trying hard enough. Host, the system suggested. Perhaps your performance isn't convincing enough to trigger his emotions. You should change your strategy. Remember, you only have 1 month. You've already wasted a whole week, it added. Ava went on a screaming rant against the system for a few minutes. Finally, she bit her lip and narrowed her eyes. Fine, I'm moving to Plan B tomorrow. There is no way some broke loser is going to beat me in my own game. Ava never wasted any time, and Plan B was in motion by the next morning. A brand new manager showed up at the coffee shop where I was working. His very first act was to pull me aside. James, we had a serious complaint about your attitude, he said coldly. You're fired. The comments instantly went wild. LOL. Here we go with the old school moves again. Ava really is a one-trick pony. She just recycles the same 3 scripts. For the new viewers, step 1 is the damsel in distress act. She acts all fragile or fakes an injury to make the guy feel like a hero. Step 2 is the soulmate act, where she pretends to love everything he loves. Step 3 is the big finish, the hero move, where she saves him from crisis. Looks like she's going for the triple threat this time. This is her go-to move. She must be really desperate if she's starting this early. That manager's excuse is such a joke. James is the nicest guy ever. Poor attitude. What a total load of crap. She is obviously setting him up, someone wrote. I watched it all play out, feeling completely numb. These were indeed her 3 favorite plays. In every past life, I had a fall for each one in order. I was just too blinded by love back then to see the strings. I was oblivious then, but things were different now. Hey, manager, I said, pointing toward the corner of the ceiling. We have cameras covering every inch of this shop. Everything I do and say is on tape. So, why don't you tell me exactly when this happened and who complained? Show me the logs. The manager's eyes darted around nervously. He hesitated for a second before doubling down on his tough guy act. That's none of your business, he snapped. All you need to know is that you're out of a job, James. Don't push your luck. I'm being nice by not. He was cut off by a familiar, high-pitched voice. Manager, I find the way you treat your staff absolutely disgusting. I rolled my eyes as the leading lady finally made her entrance. Ava was standing there with her hands on her hips, looking like a warrior for justice. She went through the whole script. How she couldn't stand bullies and how his attitude was unacceptable. She was standing up for me. The manager played his part, sneering at her until Ava huffed and pulled out her phone. She made a big show of calling her uncle, who was supposedly the CEO of the parent company. The whole scene ended with the manager forced to apologize to me while begging Ava to let him keep his job. It was like a scene out of a bad soap opera. It was the ultimate cliché. Once the manager scurried away, Ava turned to me with a smug smile. Honestly, James, she said, giving me a playful wink. As long as I'm around, I won't let anyone push you around like that. The comments were already ahead of me. Here she goes again with the fake hero act. James, don't fall for it. She's a poison apple, dude. Don't take a bite, no matter how good she looks. I couldn't help but let out a tiny, cynical smirk. Ava's eyes lit up. Oh, you smiled. You have such a great smile, James. Our eyes met, and I had to hand it to her. She was a great actress. That look of gentle affection in her eyes seemed almost real. But underneath it all, I could see the coldness. I thought to myself, she must be feeling so smug right now. She probably thinks she's got me right where she wants me, hook, line, and sinker. While I felt nothing but disgust, a new idea started to form. I had originally planned to just ignore her for the rest of the month and wait for the life swap to happen naturally. But then I realized that the real torture wasn't being ignored. It was having hope dangled in front of you before it was ripped away. I decided to give her a little taste of her own medicine. I put on my best fake smile and thanked her. Thank you, I said softly. You know, you look even more beautiful when you smile. Her face lit up instantly. I fought back the urge to gag, and before she could even ask, I pulled out my phone and added her on iMessage. I don't know what I would have done without you. I added, let me take you out to dinner sometime to make it up to you. I glanced at the comments as I spoke. No way. Did James actually fall for that pathetic act? I actually feel bad for the guy now. He is way too gullible, but I guess that is just the life of a simp. Wait, look at the stats. He added her on iMessage, but his affection score didn't go up. It actually dropped another 7 points. It was 50% yesterday. Why is it crashing now? What is he doing? Ava was clearly panicking. The second I walked away, she retreated to her car and summoned her system to check my stats. When she saw the score had dropped 7 points, she looked like she was having a mental breakdown. System, you have to be kidding me, she shrieked. He was looking at me like I was his entire world, and now you're telling me this. Not only was he not impressed, but his affection for me is actually decreasing. What the hell is going on? The data has to be glitched. Run it again. There is no way James doesn't like me. The system was silent for a long moment. Data verified. It finally replied. Target affection level is 43%. Ava's face went pale, and she started pacing around, muttering to herself in a panic. After she demanded a recount for the 10th time, the system just stopped responding. It's a bug. It has to be, she screamed. I know James better than anyone. I'm telling you right now, this is impossible. If I snap my fingers, that guy will crawl to me like a dog. The score is wrong. She sounded so convinced that even the system started to wonder if something was broken. Could there be a glitch? But these are the core modules. It shouldn't be possible for them to fail. I watched her little meltdown with a cold satisfaction and decided it was time to give her a little more bait. I pulled out my phone and sent a text. A few seconds later, Ava was staring at her screen with a smug grin. See? Not a glitch. James just texted me first. She read it aloud. Ava, thank you so much for today. I guess I was just cynical before. I used to think beautiful girls were all stuck up and looked down on regular guys like me. I thought there was no way a girl like you would talk to me without some hidden motive. I had no idea you were so kind. The rest of the message was filled with over-the-top, cheesy compliments and heavy flirting. Ava started laughing, her confidence fully restored. See, system? We're back on track. This mission is basically in the bag. Just watch me hit the jackpot, she boasted. But the viewers were a lot smarter than her. The comments were flooding in like crazy. Something is definitely off here. James is a super cautious guy. He never makes a move unless he is certain. This just isn't like him at all. That text was way too perfect. It hit every single one of her insecurities right on the head. It feels totally staged. There is no way the core affection data is glitched. The whole story is starting to feel weird. Did the main script just break? Is it possible James is self-aware now? Someone asked. I had to bite my tongue to keep from laughing. In a way, I really did have a God's eye view of the situation. It wasn't that I was psychic, I just had access to this constant stream of information from the viewers. Over the next week, I kept asking her out. We went to dinner, saw movies, and took long walks. We drove out to Malibu to watch the sunrise over the ocean and went up to the hills to look at the stars late at night. I was replaying the script perfectly. I kept giving her those long, soulful looks, and every time she caught me staring, I gave her a sweet smile. We went to see a horror movie, and when the jump scare happened right on cue, she threw herself into my arms. I held her tight and whispered that she was safe, just like I had done 6 times before. The mood was perfect, and she started leaning in close. But just as I went for the kiss, she shyly looked away at the last second. The comments were already rolling their eyes. Ugh, the classic Ava move. She is such a player. She was a pro at this. She had manipulated so many guys that she had it down to a science. She knew that the best way to hook a guy wasn't to give in, but to keep him wanting more. A little bit of teasing was always more effective than the real thing. Ava was so full of herself, thinking her little tricks were working perfectly. She was convinced she had me wrapped around her finger. But at the end of every date, when she checked my affection score, her confidence would be shattered all over again. She was caught in a cycle of panic and denial, swinging wildly between the two. She was losing it, yelling at the ceiling 1 minute and screaming at the system the next. Why? Why is this happening? He's holding me. He's flirting with me. How is his score going down? Find a glitch. Now! Even the viewers were confused. Is the game broken? James is acting totally normal on these dates. Why does his score crash the second he gets home? This makes zero sense. This is pure gold. She started at 60%, and now on day 17, James is down to 19%. I've watched 1,000 of these sims, and I have never seen someone fail this hard. His score is just a straight line down. Is it possible James is self-aware? Is he playing her? The chat went silent for a second before erupting. Wait, that actually makes a lot of sense. If he's messing with her, this is about to get legendary. Don't they get a random punishment if they fail the mission? I can't wait to see what Ava gets. You guys are savage. You've already decided she's going to lose, haven't you? By day 21, Ava was absolutely losing her mind. Since her little games hadn't triggered a confession from me, she decided to take matters into her own hands. She was running out of time, having wasted 3 weeks on her pull strategy. She had 10 days left to hit all the remaining milestones and force my affection score back up to 100%. In the middle of the crowded campus square, Ava showed up in a stunning white dress. She held a massive bouquet of roses and confessed her love for me, her voice trembling perfectly. She was a master of her craft. If this were any of my previous lives, I would have been sobbing with joy. As the crowd cheered, I rubbed my eyes with my hand. I had spent all morning chopping onions, and the sting brought instant tears to my eyes. I looked at her with moved eyes and accepted her confession. Ava stood on her tiptoes and closed her eyes, waiting for the kiss. I just stood there, completely ignoring her. The next second, a massive number flashed across the comments. 9%. It was like I was the player now. Whenever I thought about it, the score would just appear. I didn't even have to look. The viewers were already shouting it out. 9%. He looks like he is crying from joy, but his actual affection score just plummeted another 10 points. Fun fact, James is such a nice guy that his base affection for a stray dog is 25%, and he's at 9% with Ava. That means he literally likes her less than a stray dog. He's definitely self-aware now. I can't wait to see her world fall apart. Before Ava could even react, her system started to fail. The cold, robotic voice actually sounded like it was having a breakdown of its own. It started screaming at her. Ava, what are you doing? You swore this mission was in the bag. Why is the score stuck? Why is it dropping every single day? I told you to be careful. You treated him like a personal bank account and drained him dry. Now look at you. The whole script is falling apart because James doesn't even like you. Ava looked like she was about to have a heart attack. She was frantically scrolling through our old texts, trying to find some hidden meaning or a sign that she'd missed something. She found nothing but her own lies. I don't understand, she sobbed. Everything is exactly the same as the last 6 times. He's being even sweeter to me now. It's your stupid system that is broken. How is this my fault? You're blaming me? I should be blaming you, she screamed at the system. I have 10 days left. If I fail because of your glitch, my life is over. What am I supposed to do? The viewers were loving the drama between Ava and her system. It's a total train wreck. Ava is finally panicking. She didn't feel a bit of guilt when she was destroying James's life, but now that it's her on the line, she's losing it. I can't wait to see how this ends. This script is absolutely cooked. Just then, Ava stopped her yelling and took a deep breath. System, she whispered, do you have any items? You know, something to force a score increase. There are items, the system replied after a pause, but they are expensive. And James's affection score is so low that you'll have to trade something very valuable to make it work. You can trade money, health, lifespan, or family stability, the system explained. Do it, Ava snapped. But don't touch any of my stats. Use his. The system hesitated. You want to use his? Of course. Ava sneered. I wouldn't even need these items if he wasn't being such a pain. You should be the one to pay. The system checked his stats. He has 0 funds, and his 5-year lifespan is too low to be used as currency. Ava groaned. You just said I could use his health or his family. We are in this together, and if I fail, we both lose. Just do it. After a long silence, the system finally agreed. Initiating trade for the soulmate pill. Target James's family status is being adjusted. His parents are now deceased. His grandparents' cruelty score has been increased by 50%. His living conditions are being downgraded from a small apartment to a shack. His nutritional status is now set to chronic starvation. All changes will take effect once the mission is completed. Trade successful. The chat went nuclear. Ava is literal trash. She has already destroyed his life, and now she is doing this. She is stripping him of everything he has left just for a stupid item. She's the most disgusting player I have ever seen. And remember, she is already a multi-millionaire in the real world. She doesn't even need this money. She just wants to win. She has all the money she could ever want, but she won't spend a dime of her own resources. She'd rather kill James than lose a single point. I want to reach into the screen and slap her. Just a heads up, the soulmate pill only works if James swallows it. If he is really self-aware, he better not take it. And if he does, he needs to throw it up immediately. I felt a strange sense of warmth reading all the comments of people standing up for me. I looked over at Ava, who was grinning like she'd already won, and I couldn't help but let out a quiet, dark laugh. Oh, Ava, you really are a piece of work. You'll let anyone pay the price as long as it isn't you. But you're about to find out how much it hurts when the blade is turned around. You chose this path. Now you have to walk it to the end. Ava couldn't even wait until morning. She showed up at my dorm that same night, acting like nothing was wrong. She made small talk for a minute before getting to the point. James, you haven't been sleeping well lately, she said sweetly. It really breaks my heart to see you so tired. I went to a specialist and got you some medicine. If you take this, you'll sleep like a baby tonight. I just stared at her, a faint smile on my lips, and didn't say a word. She was clearly nervous, but she wasn't about to give up her last chance. She forced a playful smile. James, why are you looking at me like that? Don't you trust me? I went to all this trouble to help you, and you're treating me like a criminal. You're really hurting my feelings, you know? She was just about to start her big emotional speech when I cut her off. Of course I trust you, baby. I'm just touched by how much you care about me. She handed me the small gold pill, and without a second of hesitation, I tossed it into my mouth and made a big show of swallowing it. Ava watched me like a hawk, not relaxing until she was sure I had swallowed. Oh, James, it makes me so happy that you trust me, she whispered, her voice full of fake warmth. I nodded and smiled at her, but the second she turned away, I spat the pill into my palm. The comments went insane. Holy shit, he spat it out. He is definitely self-aware. He is playing her for real. I'm 100% sure now. James is totally awake. Everything he's done for the past week has been a setup, and Ava is just standing there with that dumb grin on her face, thinking she won. LOL. He's down to 5%. The next time she checks his score, she's going to have a total meltdown. She spent 7 lives destroying him, and now it's her turn to suffer. I'm loving this. I let out a quiet laugh. Watching Ava dig her own grave was the most satisfying thing I had ever experienced. But as I expected, her joy didn't last long. She was back in her room, screaming at the system. System, what the hell did you give me? James took the pill, and his score dropped to 5%. Is this a bug or what? Even the system sounded like it was losing its mind. How am I supposed to know? It snapped back. Maybe for once you should look in a mirror. You are so toxic and heartless that even I can't stand being around you. It's no wonder James doesn't like you. All you do is blame everyone else. You are the problem, Ava. You are the biggest glitch in this entire system. I must have been cursed to be assigned to a player like you. The chat was absolutely living for it. LOL. Even the system and the player are turning on each other now. It was day 22, and Ava had exactly 8 days left before she failed the mission. Ava, 8 days, the system warned. Are you going to finish this or not? Ava was visibly shaking, all her old confidence gone. She looked like she'd been crying for hours. Please, just give me one more item, she begged. I only have 8 days. I can't fail this. I don't care what it costs him. He's going to die anyway. So just use whatever health he has left as currency. The system was silent for a long time, but since its fate was tied to hers, it finally gave in. A notification flashed on her screen. Trade initiated for the Eternal Love Potion. Target James's physical health will be liquidated. Symptoms will include heart failure, severe anemia, diabetes, chronic migraines, and organ failure. The trade is complete. Health status will update upon mission conclusion. A small vial of golden liquid appeared in Ava's hand. She started laughing like a lunatic, her eyes wide with triumph. This is it. I'm going to win. Her reaction immediately set off the chat. She is literal poison. James is self-aware. He is going to destroy her. I can't wait for the swap. Every bit of pain she just sold him is going to be hers to deal with in the real world. She's building her own personal hell. She made her bed. Now she has to lie in it. Ava is about to get exactly what she deserves. Does anyone know what that potion actually does? Someone replied, yeah, it's a force love potion. It's tasteless and odorless. If the target drinks it, their affection score hits 100% instantly. James, run. Don't drink that stuff. But wait, his score is at 5%. If it hits 0, the game is over instantly. He doesn't even have to wait for the month to end. The base affection score for 2 people is usually 5%, so it won't drop any further unless they have a massive fight or he finds out the truth. If he actually exposes her as a player, the whole quest line collapses instantly. I wonder if James knows that rule. The comment finished. I froze. I had no idea. All I had to do was tell everyone she was a player, and the entire game would fall apart. A rush of pure adrenaline hit me. I looked up at the air where the comments were floating and gave them a real, genuine smile. The chat went completely silent for a second. Wait, did he just look at us? It felt like he was staring right into my soul. I felt it too. That was creepy. He can't actually see us, right? He's just a character in a simulation. He's not even in our reality. The chat is on our side of the screen. He's just a bunch of code. Unless his God view is actually multidimensional, one person added. Most of them didn't believe it, but I knew the truth. If it weren't for these people and their comments, I would still be a puppet in Ava's game. I would still be her personal blood bag, living and dying over and over again in a cycle of false hope and agony. I looked at the floating text and spoke softly. I don't have a God's perspective, I said. You guys are the ones saving me. The chat was suddenly filled with rows of question marks. But before I could say anything else, the words vanished. The constant stream of text that had been my only company for weeks was gone, as if it had never been there at all. It was time to settle the score with Ava once and for all. I sat in my room, waiting for her to show up. 7 lives of misery were finally coming to an end. Ava's little drama was about to be canceled. She didn't notice a thing. She walked in with a sweet smile and handed me a thermos. James, I made you some chicken soup, she said. I know you've been feeling down and tired lately. This will help you feel so much better. I stayed up all night making it, she added. She was getting smarter, hiding her potion in the food, but she was also getting sloppy. Just yesterday, she was trying to cure my insomnia, and now she was giving me soup for my energy. I was done playing her game. I took the thermos with a smile and swirled it around for a second. Then, while she watched me with eager eyes, I tossed the whole thing right into the trash can. Ava bolted out of her chair and lunged for the trash can to save the thermos. She looked at me with a mix of fury and disbelief. James, what are you doing? Do you have any idea what I put in there? She caught herself before she said potion and tried to pivot back to her script. That soup was my heart and soul. Do you not love me anymore? I stayed up all night, James. Please, just take one sip. I started laughing, real tears of amusement in my eyes, and cut her off. Ava, the mission is over. You want to tell me why you're really here? She froze, the word mission barely escaping her lips. Her face went ghostly white. James, how do you know about that? I allowed a harsh laugh. How do I know you're a player? You really thought the system was glitching? No, Ava. My score was dropping because I can't stand the sight of you. She stared at me, her mouth hanging open in shock. Suddenly, the mask slipped entirely. Her fake sweetness was gone, replaced by a shrill, hysterical scream. Fine, if you know, then you know. You should be honored that I even picked you to be my quest target. Now drink this soup, she yelled, lunging at me. I didn't even think. I just kicked out and sent her sprawling onto the floor. She tried to scramble back up, but she suddenly went limp all the energy draining out of her. A cold, robotic voice echoed through the room. Ava, it's over. James has exposed your identity. The mission is officially a failure. Host eliminated. It has been 5 years since I swapped lives with Ava. The memory of the day I left that world is starting to fade. I can barely remember her screams or the sound of the system shutting down. The real world is 1,000 times better than the simulation. The swap was permanent, and now I'm the only one who even remembers her name. Every asset she ever owned, every success she ever had, is now legally mine. Her supposed fiancé never even showed up. Sometimes I find myself wondering if the whole thing was just a fever dream. Maybe there was no game, and maybe Ava never existed at all. Then one day I was walking along the beach and saw two guys talking. They were laughing and talking so loudly I could hear every word. I'm telling you, man, one of them said, that Ava NPC is the easiest run in the whole game. If you want easy rewards, just farm her. She's cute, and she'll do whatever you want. The only downside is that her character's health is total trash. She's always sick. The other guy laughed. It's not just her health. Her family is a total disaster, too. If you pick her, you have to deal with all her family drama, too. And she's such a crybaby, it's honestly annoying. The only reason anyone plays her route is because it's such an easy win. I stop in my tracks. Ava. Oh, Ava. Good luck with that. Never let yourself be a pawn in someone else's game. Any relationship that drains you and leaves you hollow isn't love. It's just someone else taking what isn't theirs. The second you stop falling for the lies, you finally get to be the one in control. I hope you never have to sacrifice yourself for anyone ever again. It's time to finally live for yourself.